The load is not yours to carry. He just wants you to surrender it to him. Everything that you're trying to handle, he's waiting on you to tell him, you're ready. This is beyond fixing entrepreneurs. This goes beyond the work of education. This is freeing little girls that were you when they were 18. That's why the load is heavy, baby. This is about freeing souls and changing the lineage and breaking generational curses over your child. You're thinking this is about business. It's deeper than that. So once you surrender, God is going to give you a game plan that is a GPS coordinate to go turn by turn to walk this thing out. He made the load heavy because he's waiting on you to just raise your hands and tell him you're tired. He doesn't want you to carry it no more. We all stand in agreement. We bind backlash and retaliation of this prayer, that this for and no further, devil, that you can have on mine. Sweet rest, sweet rest, sweet rest will cover you from this day forward. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen. Yeah. Ooh.
Just Heal with Dr. J is going to be a space where we foster healing conversations, conversations that are life enriching, conversations that are going to provoke thought, that's going to provoke change, and also provide insight. And so that's what I'm excited about. All right, I am excited about today's guest. As you know, for the month of July, I am interviewing some of the most dynamic, powerful, and inspirational women from all walks of life. And today I have a great opportunity to sit down with the CEO, business owner, founder, all the titles that you can think of the Blueprint University, the woman herself, the incomparable and infamous, because she doesn't like being out in the front. And I've learned this much about her. But I'm so glad to have with me today Miss Kaila Cherie, the founder of the Blueprint University. So, Miss Kayla, welcome to the Healing Community. I'm so excited to sit down and talk with you. I met you in the green room. What was that? About
A
a
month and a
couple
half
months ago,
ago.
about a
Yeah.
month, a couple months ago, and learn of your story and learn of your business and all of the exciting things that you do. And if you haven't watched any episodes, so this is Just Heal, and this is all things healing, all things mental health, all things discussing life, your journey, and all those great things. So I'm excited to have you with us today. So, um, tell me about this Blueprint University, because I kind of got a chance to walk through what you're building, and it is phenomenal. And so I want to say congratulations on what you're building. But tell me about the Blueprint University.
Yes. So Blueprint University is a trade school for entrepreneurs. Our mission, of course, is to close the gap between small businesses and Fortune 500 companies. With that, we take businesses from education, educating them, being the wheelhouse behind them. So we have a marketing department, we have a media department, we have funding, finance, everything like a one-stop shop that these business owners would need. So that's pretty much what Blueprint University is. Big on education. We have incubator program, accelerator, startup, all one-stop shop.
All of that. Now, how did you get into that?
So I started business at 12 years old, making earrings when Basketball Wives was a hit. So I used to go downtown LA, it's where I grew up, and made all these earrings. So I made about $3,600 a week doing that.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Slow down, slow down. Hey,
Okay.
we gonna go on a journey. Wait, you're not gonna bypass $3,600 a week
Mhm.
at 12 years old.
Yes.
What was in these earrings?
They were just a hit. I'd be able to be as creative as I wanted to be, so I would just make little hit earrings, they were called.
I'm gonna need you to send us a picture of these earrings so we can flash them in the interview, because I'm fascinated. $3,600 at 12 years old. And how long did you do that?
About 2 or 3 years. So they were a hit for about 2 or 3 years, so I did that consistently.
Wow. And who were your customers?
My mother, she worked at the prison, so she would take them inside of the, from prison and sell them to the women. Her coworkers, of course, and then also I would go to the beauty shops on the weekend. I would sell to them at school around Mother's Day. I would make mom earrings, mom bracelets, and then the kids would buy them from me. So it just picked up from there.
So now you know the next question coming because I got to be me.
Yes.
In 3 years, how much money did you make?
Oh wow. I probably made about my first $75,000.
75,000 in 3 years, 3,600. Wow.
No more.
And you probably
Probably more.
I
Probably like being modest.
listen. Trump and the IRS are not gonna watch this show, so
Yeah.
we got to worry about
Yeah.
taxes. Yeah, that's what I mean. Because I'm sitting there calculating $3,600 a week. You know what I'm saying? And in almost 2 weeks, you're already at 10 bands.
Yes.
So I'm like 10 bands every 2 weeks. You're already at 20 bands, 40 bands,
Okay.
60 bands. Like you did more than 70,000, Kayla, in 3 years. I think you probably more.
Math, not mathed it.
Huh? Yeah, because I'm like, the numbers ain't mathing. So I'm like, hold on, wait a minute, CJ.
That's 3 years.
Yeah.
3. Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. I was like, you probably did about $500,000.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you stopped after 3 years, and what do you do with all of the money that you made?
I didn't know it at the time, but now looking back, I used to do a lot of community involvement. So, like with my school, I became like the president of certain clubs, girl clubs, um, BSU, Black Student Union, and I would put on different talent shows and different events for the school, and I would just donate all of my money. Really, I was probably just giving it back, and that's where my helping hand started. Like I really just started giving a lot. But fast forward, I was able to save a lot of that, and I started angel investing at the age of 19.
Wow. So angel invested in 19. So what were some of the businesses or some of the things that you invested in or
Uh,
companies?
I invested into a car wash. I invested into a nail salon. I had this 160 unit space in Las Vegas, Nevada, because I went to UNLV. I was studying pre-medicine.
Okay.
And right across the street, it's still there. It's this large building, 160 units. And my idea was to make it an African American Chinatown. So with that, I went to these different businesses. One of them, they used to wash my car, and they were like, "I want to expand my business." I wrote up their business plan. I got them contracts with different car rental companies. So like a big one in Vegas was like Fox Rental Car, Ace Car Rental, things like that. So we started washing their vehicles. So I invested a lot into that company initially. I did a music studio inside of that space, a restaurant, and just trying to build up the community in that way. So I invested a lot.
Wow. And the 160 unit, what was the return once you made your first investment?
Well, that project ended up leaving me bankrupt at the age of 21. So a lot of it became a lot of robbing Peter to pay Paul because some businesses did good, some didn't. I had a lot of good partnerships and I had a lot of bad partnerships too. So some of the businesses had to take care of the other businesses to keep afloat until it just couldn't anymore.
Yeah. And as I'm sitting there thinking, because when guests are talking, I love the process in real time. And to see how you have continued to move forward because bankruptcy would stop most people.
Yeah.
And you relatively young,
Mhm.
and to think about you continuing on, what was the driver for you after experiencing bankruptcy at such an early age?
Back then, I was just like, okay, this is the cards I'm dealt with now. How do I just always been a person to keep moving forward. It's like resilience, just I can only go up from here, right? It can't get no worse. So I'm at my lowest here. So how am I gonna get through this hurdle? And I just
And who's supporting you? Like who's around you? Like what are the friendship circle? Is family involved? Like what was that like? Because I'm sitting there thinking, I'm 43 and I'm thinking like bankruptcy for most people, like I've read stories and as a therapist, some people going through bankruptcy and it's like they have done egregious things. And egregious meaning like it's like I got to take everybody out. You know what I mean? They have died by suicide. I mean, they felt that life was over. And what I'm interested in knowing, where did that resilience come from?
Um, the resilience, I get asked that question a lot, and I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes I think it's just was born inside of me, or it's just something that I've learned how to get past. I don't know. It's just I don't know how to. I've always been a solutionist, so I don't know how not to keep moving forward. Like there has to be a way, and I'm a
Yeah.
strong believer of that.
So, knowing that you have to keep moving forward, I have to go to childhood, because most of what we become is all centered around our environment. In our adolescent years, it's centered around how we are spoken to, how we are cared for, how we are nurtured, and those things. So, in your childhood, I know for me, right, my resilience comes from just watching my mom
Mhm.
navigate through some of the most difficult times. We were homeless. Um, and I watched my mom work like 2 jobs for 3 kids.
Mhm.
And seeing her figuring it out allowed me to know that whatever life was throwing at me, I was able to figure it out. And I cannot take this away from my father. My father, whatever he did something, he went all in. And my father's a pastor. And whenever he preaches, I mean, he preached like it's his last sermon. And what I took from that is that if you're going to do it, you got to do it.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for you, where did you learn that if I'm going to do it, I got to do it?
I learned that through track, honestly. So I started running track like age 6, up until I was 14. And my coach always told me you gotta have heart. And with that, I'm no athlete by any means. But
Did your folks put you in track?
yes, my
They want you to
stepfather
be
was a
active?
yeah. We
What'd you run?
everything. I because I was in it so long, so I started off, of course, 100, 200. Then I advanced to 200-meter hurdles. I was so happy when I got through that. But I did 4x1, 4x4. I was really good at shot put, so I would go to Junior Olympics and things like that for shot put as a kid. But we always know once we started something, we can never quit it. So they instilled that into us really early. Like my mom, she always said, like, if you're gonna start soccer, you're gonna start this sport. Like I did tennis one year, and I wanted to quit so bad because I didn't know how hard tennis was gonna be, but it was always like you can't quit. So I think a lot of that comes
Yeah,
from sports discipline.
yeah. And the discipline is very necessary for not just success, but the discipline is also for the structure of life.
Yeah.
That without discipline, I can tell any man that's not disciplined, I can tell you have no structure.
Yeah.
Because I look at men based on their level of discipline,
Mhm.
and look at people the same, particularly in business,
Yeah.
because if you're going to be successful in business, you have to be disciplined in the area of learning.
Yes.
How much have you learned? And you probably don't have enough time to unpack all of that. How much have you learned about you in business?
So
Not about business, but about you. What have you learned about Kayla?
the biggest thing, it's continuous. Every day I learn something new, but people pleasing. So that's a big thing that comes up in business a lot because not being able to say no when you know you should say no, or taking on too much when you know you shouldn't be taking on certain things. So I've had to navigate and figure what that looks like for me and really protect myself because sometimes that can hurt you as you're navigating through business. So definitely people pleasing. Also, I've noticed that I can't allow myself to, I'm human. And you're gonna work with everybody in business, it's human. So I'm always big on relationships too. Like I really want to figure out who you are, what we're doing before we get in bed together, business, marry each other, because that's what it is. Anytime you're doing something with someone, but just try to like figure out people. And I had to open up myself to be able to relatable with others, especially if the type of work I'm doing now. Um, because sometimes I could find myself just being like a silent assassin, and nobody ever knows I'm doing anything.
Mhm.
So with that, yeah,
That's a deep one.
yeah,
A silent assassin, because they'll kill you and you didn't even know you was a target.
yeah.
Mm, mm. The silent assassin. I want to stay right there. Why that term?
Because I guess from even when I did all of those things, when I go back on things I did at a younger age, it's like nobody knew. I always felt unseen at the time, or nobody ever really knew those things were going on, or at the capacity I was doing them at. And I went through a lot of different silent battles, like by myself. But when you talk,
Was that intentional?
no,
Would you have wanted somebody to know that you were in a battle?
that's probably why I was doing it.
Yeah,
When I look back at it now, it's
yeah.
like you said, it all comes back from childhood. You want to feel seen. You want people to s- seem like they see, the work that you're doing, and sometimes,
That's a real thing.
yeah.
And we could park there because you know, um, it's hard when you're not seen and you desire to be seen. It's
Yeah.
hard to um, navigate when you want to be heard and no one is hearing you. It's as if you have tape over your mouth and you're screaming.
Mhm.
You're saying something, but no one can understand you. You're saying something, but no one can hear you.
Mm.
That's tough. And I couldn't imagine trying to do business while battling secretly, while also upholding the face.
Mm.
What was that like for you?
I'll go back to age 18, 19 before I went into angel investing. So that year I had actually attempted suicide that year. And it was I was in school studying pre-med, took on 18 credits my first semester. Insane, because I'm over still trying to prove myself, right? Prior to that, took every honorary class you could think of, made straight A's, growing up, and it still didn't seem like enough.
Hmm,
So that's kind of what led me to
make the
that
attempt.
incident at 19, right? And then when I found it was the toughest spot I was ever at in my life, like, and nobody knew, probably besides my mom. And that was the person, like, I, called, cried to try to pull me out, and I had to, um, really get through that time, and from there, a lot of things came up that I had to heal and deal with, but I can honestly say it was necessary, it was needed, because as of right now, like, I never have those thoughts or those feelings anymore, so
What happened that day?
that triggered. I don't know. Um, I think it was a course of things over time. What set me off, I think it was the ending of my freshman semester, and I probably made my first C ever in life.
So did you feel, because I don't want to sort of scathe through what you shared, because I'm a two-time suicide survivor. So um and I know that there are people that are watching this that are struggling with suicidal ideation, which is the thought
Mhm.
of not just taking a life, but the ways in which they would want to leave. And I'm thinking about 19-year-old Kayla.
Mm.
And you said something. You said just wanting to be seen that I was doing enough. And to think about what happened that day and to think about where you are, what is the nexus, kind of like this point of kind of this portal, this pathway for you that allows you to know today that if you did nothing else, that you've done enough?
Haven't got there yet. I still struggle with that.
Still struggle with that.
Yeah.
How do you manage that?
Continuing to build, build in battle.
Mm. Build and battle. That's a word for somebody. And I have to go there. That's got to be exhausting.
Yeah, it can be.
But can I share something with you?
Mhm.
You got to rest. And I'm not talking about sleep. I mean rest to where what you build begins to work for you in seasons where you don't feel like you always have to have your hands on the plow. Is that because I think one of the challenges that a lot of successful women, because I work with a lot of successful women, is that is the thing that I often hear them say is that, man, I just want to be seen that I've done enough or that I am enough. And as much as that is a thing where people give us a validation, I also think that there is a responsibility that we have to accept that we are rather than waiting for them to clap because we are,
Mhm. Yeah, that's true.
you
That's
know? And and I'm saying this because I feel the interview taking a shift because you have done a lot. How old are you?
28.
You're 28. And I'm gonna tell you how old I thought you were. Not because you look like I thought you was about 33 because of just the way you carry yourself and would not have given you 28.
Like people have seen me like that since I was like 5. They always thought I was older
You know.
than what I carried, but
And I'm saying this because this for you, um, you got a long road ahead of you. And you I have to go back to this. Building and battling. The duality of that, man. Because I once said something when I was on my tour 3 years ago. I said, somebody says, man, what is it like? How does it feel? I said, imagine yourself building a plane and flying it at the same time. And can I tell you, Kayla, that thing damn near killed me. Because what you realize is that you're in the air with a plane that's not fully finished.
wow. And that's what it feels like every day.
And my hope for you, and this is personal, is that not that you find balance, but that you find space to just rest, to turn your brain off. Because what we often do is rather than healing, we keep achieving,
Mm.
you know, because it's easy to go get another degree, go get another business, go write up another business plan.
Mm.
Because as much as football was like my outlet, building things is your outlet, I assume.
Yep.
Because when I can touch something and like even when I'm doing business today, like when we was talking the other day, I look at everything like the X's and O's,
Mhm.
like in football. Like, okay, if you're trying to, get yardage with this play and the defense is set up to stop you because they're in this type of formation or they're in this type of defense, I'm always looking at things like, okay, how can I score against the threat?
Mhm.
And then also, what is the defense that I need to, you know what I'm saying, be
Mhm.
on when there is a offensive issue, you know what I mean? And the one of the most challenging thing is the process of to continue looking at everything like that
Mhm.
because it's also the way I cope.
Yeah, that's real.
You know what I'm saying? And it keeps you from having to really deal because to deal means you have to feel.
Mhm.
And I want to ask you this question, and this may be something that you still process because you're so young and so powerful at the same time.
I don't see it yet.
And I know you don't. I know you don't, but you are.
Mhm.
Look at what I walked through the other day. How big is that building, Kayla?
almost 31,000 square feet.
31,000 square feet. That building, you walked me into some green rooms, you walked me into some media rooms, you walked me into, I think there was like a little kid scene. You walked me to, hey, you said, Dr. J, we're going to be doing podcasts over here. Like, look at what you built.
I also had another building just a couple years ago. I've been in construction for 3 years and got swindled out of millions of dollars on that project. And now the building you saw is the building actually I wanted at the very beginning.
Yeah,
And it's like God brings it back full circle.
yeah. And he's also bringing it back too, so you can slow down and
Mm.
see details. Because one of the things that we miss when we're building and when we are trying to manage, you know what I'm saying? Emotionally, it's very challenging to see all of the moving parts. So uh, I'm with a mentor of mine, and we're at lunch, and he's talking to me about a deal that he had just did, right? Or a deal that he was sitting in on with his mentor. So the deal, can't remember. It was like in the like 3.5 million or something like that. And I was like, at the time, I'm in my 20s, late 20s, because he's like taking me on this wing. And again, back then, for somebody to be saying they was doing like $2 or $3 million deal, it's just kind of like, oh man, this is huge. And the guy says, I don't want to do the deal.
Mm.
And so he's kind of like, well, what do you mean? He says, well, I don't have enough details. And the guy was like, well, I'm laying it out for you. He says, have you ever heard the saying that the devil is in the details? He says, yes, I've heard that. He says, well, I don't have enough details to see where the devil is. And I just sat there. And I'm sharing that because I think part of how things are happening for you now is so you can start seeing details and you can make wiser decisions on things that will require all of you rather than just pieces of you.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
So how do you feel emotionally as you're navigating? And that this may be layered. How do you feel emotionally now that you're in this space where you're working on this new building?
Um, I feel at peace than I did for the last 8 months. It was the last 8 months of my life have been feels like I've been living in hell. But I finally feel peace and relief. Um, so that's right now I'm at peace and just knowing that God's gonna do his work.
Yeah.
I'm just trusting just in the space of
Yeah. And thank you for being so vulnerable too. Because I can tell it's tough for you because and it's a lot to navigate through, and especially when you got to do it alone,
yeah. It's lonely.
and nobody tells you how thin the area is at the top. And what I'm hoping is that you continue to build your capacity for being at the top, because one of the keys to surviving the top of the mountain is having the capacity to manage the air.
Mhm.
That's why, because I used to hear everybody can't go, and we hear that, and that's so true.
It's true.
Have you learned that?
Yes. Yes. A lot this year. This past 2 years.
Yeah.
I have learned, you know, because we we have such good hearts and we we want to help everybody, but we have to know too that like you said, everybody can't go with you. And sometimes you want the closest people to go with you.
Mm.
And those are the ones that probably show you too that they're not ready. And it's okay that they're not ready. And you
Yes.
just have to know that they're not right. They're not ready, and you just have to be okay with that. And I think I learned that early on too, and I just didn't know it
Hmm.
because there was a lot of people I had to block out early in my life, and I've always had small circles. I never really done like a lot of friends or kept a lot of people around me. It's always been like three people, and that's it. And it. Um, One day I was at a church service, and different spirits and stuff that are people around you, they'll carry that, and you take on that, and it becomes heavier. And the pastor, he said, put certain people in your phone and do not answer, like do
Hmm.
not answer these certain
Yeah.
individuals.
Yeah.
And I had to learn that for myself early on, to block that energy out so that I can start healing from certain situations, and knowing that I have to keep this person at that space. So now, even today, like certain people call, they text. I'm one not to answer, or not one to respond right away, because I know how much energy it's going to take out
Yeah.
of me.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to identify and know that. So
Yeah. Because that's hard to identify.
mm,
It's hard to not only just identify, it's also hard to accept.
yeah.
And particularly for people that you thought
Mhm.
would be there, and I think that was one of the things that really bothered me as my journey began to change and God began to expand my territory. The hardest part was like the people I was like, oh, definitely he'll be around, or definitely she'll be around. And even in relationship, that was challenging,
Mhm.
you know, uh, because nobody tells you how the person you're dating impacts not only your business and your your everything. Like, can you speak to the women who are watching and kind of talk about that? Because I can talk about it from my perspective as a male, but how important is it to even be connected to the right males if you're dating a male per se?
It's super, super imperative, because that's your everyday, who you're dating. Typically, that's who you talk to 9 times out of 10. That's who you're calling 9 times out of 10. And they have to be have the same emotional capacity that you have,
Yes.
because sometimes we find ourselves, you're going to start pouring into another unhealed man, or he's going to be pouring in, to you. It could go vice versa. But speaking from a woman's perspective, sometimes we take on men that's not healed, and then we become their moms, we become their nurturers, we become um, so many different things, and that's heavy. And imagine trying to build an empire, and then having to, if you have children, cater to them, and then cater to the man as well. It's a lot. Yeah.
It's a lot. You have children?
I have a 3-year-old son, yes.
3-year-old son. And what is that like as a mom to be building an empire, being a mom? Because I'm watching my sisters do it, and they're married, and because I don't think there's enough conversation about people who are married and still feel like they don't have help.
Hmm. And I have no help because I'm here in Dallas by myself.
you know, and you here doing this thing alone, building an empire.
Yeah. It's challenging, and I just went to a conference last week, and this lady, she spoke volumes when she said, sometimes you're gonna be a C. People with degrees get C's, right? And sometimes when you're a mom, you're gonna get a C one day, you're gonna get a B maybe another day, and hold on to those A moments. So sometimes you just say, okay, sometimes, I'm a mom, I'm building, maybe I have to give my business an A today, but Will Hunter might get a C today, but he's okay. The necessities are taken care of. And you just have to do the best that you can because parenting is hard. My mom said having kids is a different room. I'm understanding it now.
Yeah, yeah,
It's tough.
yeah.
It's tough.
And I'm glad that you're speaking to the women in what you're sharing. Because we get on social media and and a woman would look at you because if they're following your social media, I mean, I go to your social media and I'm like, oh, this girl's killing it. But we don't get to see the ins and outs of people daily practice. This is why I say social media is not, this is not you, but it's not a real place.
So, see highlights.
It's highlights. And I'm so glad that you're talking about grades or the grading scale for parenting because you won't always be an A+ parent, and that's okay.
And sometimes you might get a D. You may not want to say it, but you're gonna be a D sometimes, and you still may pass.
You know what?
Okay.
But nobody talks about sometime you will fail. Let me say this to you in the camera. Doesn't mean that you are a failure. Listen, you may fail. You may get a F. As the folks say, you may get a flag. As the old folks say in Mississippi, baby, he flunked. You may fail, but that doesn't mean that you're a failure. Because there isn't a manual, there isn't a booklet on parenting. And I don't know because I'm not a parent. I lost a child in pregnancy, but I haven't had to raise a child. But I'm saying this because I want to help those that are trying to be what their parents weren't to them. And it's okay if you miss the mark in not being everything to your child. Because the stress of just the day to day. And here's the thing, I'm sitting here with a very accomplished woman, and I can tell that that's warfare for you. I can feel it. I can feel the building and battling. That's a book title. You need to write that book, by the way. Seriously. When you need to write that book in like the next 5 years. That is a gold mine. Building and battling. You need to tell friend, put that in your notes. Building and battling. Trademark that. That is a book title. Because how many people are up there hammering, but they're battling the wars that nobody sees. They're writing a business plan, but they're battling what the divorce did to them. You know what I'm saying? You're building the career, but you're battling what the molestation did. You're building the business, but you're battling what the emotional abuse did. That's a warfare. And then it's like, I'm building this building at 28, but then I'm battling, am I a good mom? Am I doing enough as a mother? I'm raising a young Black boy. Am I giving him everything? So I feel that weight. And what I'm hoping for you, as I was saying earlier, and this is personal, and what I'm hoping for you is that respites that you'll find that the pockets that today was enough. If you did nothing else, that today was enough. And Kayla, I had to learn that because I would close out my laptop from seeing clients and my brain would still be working like, okay, did I give them enough tools? And I had to get to the point where say, once I close this laptop, that's it. Once I get off this last call, close out this Zoom meeting, because the enemy don't get us because we are successful. He gets us because it's the battles that we are trying to manage in the midst of the success. Would you agree?
I definitely agree. What do you feel like enough is for you?
Oh, that's a good question. For me, it's when I feel fulfilled that I did everything that I could do for that day. And my focus has always been where my feet are planted.
Okay.
My mother, a lover to the moon and back, she's a big tomorrow person. big tomorrow person. And she's often like, what you doing? Well, I'm doing this and that. And I had to learn that tomorrow gave me such anxiety,
Mm,
which caused me to miss today.
that's good.
And it robbed me so much. When I was in my 20s at 21, I went bald.
Mm,
True story. I didn't get drafted, and the stress of not getting drafted, not because I couldn't play, because I wanted to show my father that I could without him. I lost all of my hair. Now, this is my real hair. Me and Charlemagne joke all the time. This is not a unit, good brothers. Again, blessings to those who do it, but this is mine. All this was gone,
mm,
gone, stress. I didn't even know it. And my barber, like, I'm going to get a haircut. And this is how my lack of awareness was just kind of like off. I'm thinking like, oh snap, this is just what happens.
mm.
And my barber's like, nigga, you're 22. Why are you going bald? Like he was like, dude, what's going on? And again, I didn't know that I was stressed. I just knew I was up at night worrying.
Mm.
And every time I went to the mirror to brush my hair, it was just getting thinner and thinner and thinner.
Wow.
And I got robbed from being so worried about tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. I'm talking about that. I was so anxious about next week. Like I'm telling you, like I used to get so anxious about school because it was like when a teacher said, "Oh, you have this due in 3 weeks." Oh my God, it shut my nervous system down. I'm like, "Oh shoot," because I would go into the 3 weeks and I wouldn't even get started.
Yeah, because it's too.
So the procrastination, I was paralyzed not just only by the procrastination, but I was paralyzed by the thought of the 3 weeks.
Mhm.
And the 3 weeks come, and the lady goes, my teacher, professor, like, Jay, you have, I was like, oh, I- it, it was just like, I didn't have. So I've learned that enough for me is that whatever I can do in that time span, that's it,
I love it.
nothing more. And also having a cutoff time. I've watched so many people in business, and I understand entrepreneurship because I didn't work for anybody, was in the grad school. I had to do my internship. But so many entrepreneurs, this whole 24/8, this whole grind all day, this overwork culture, man. I'm not using using toxic and all that. It's deadly. That's what I'm gonna say. It will kill you. I literally just came across a post. I don't know if you saw it. There's a black woman who had a business, and they were saying that she was working 7 days a week, and she was running her business. Did you see that
Yep,
post?
saw it.
I just came across it, and she was working 7 days a week, nonstop, 7 days a week, and went home one night, went to sleep to take a nap to rest, and never woke up.
Awful.
And I was reading the comments of just how exhausted people were saying that they are trying not only to run a business, but doing business.
Mhm.
Two different things. Because you have the operations and you have the marketing, the advertising, the management of people,
Mhm.
the management of the system. It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's too much sometimes. And I was just saying that yesterday. I'm over here trying to catch up on all my emails. And I use AI a lot now too. And I said, should I send this email now? Because are they even going to read it? And it said actually CEOs, founders, it's the perfect time to send emails on a Saturday because they're more than likely to be the ones to go through their email. And that just shows that we don't rest at all because we should be resting on a Saturday and we're more than likely to respond on Saturday.
AI said that to you?
Mhm.
Whoa.
And I pressed send, and every last one of those founders responded.
Wow.
Now, the executives for the companies, for like everybody else, they didn't respond because they probably won't respond on Monday. But all of CEOs, founders, they responded on Saturday. It just shows how like overworked we are.
Wow. And AI told you that.
Mhm.
I just want to pause. Think about that. AI told you that. And I'm not saying AI will take over, but the effectiveness of AI is that it's going to outsmart us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's scary
Scary.
because I didn't even know that. And now I'm finna go through all my emails and email all these CEOs like, man, send these checks.
Uh-huh.
All of it. CJ, let's get on it. Next Saturday, we getting up at 6 a.m. and send out emails. Wow. Oh man. You got me stumbling now. And not on anything, but just we're exhausted.
Yeah.
What do you do for fun?
Drink a Dr. Pepper. Literally.
And how often do you drink a Dr.
I
Pepper?
have to have one once a day. Foam cup with extra ice. That's my happy place.
Really?
Yeah.
Where did that begin?
Mm. It's hot in Texas.
Yeah.
Need something cold to drink. A few years back,
You got to introduce it. Somebody introduce you to Dr. Pepper?
I got off. Yeah. No, I don't know. I just picked up on it one day. Nothing really interesting, but
Yeah.
I just found it as a happy place. So they all know, go give me a Dr. Pepper. I'm stressed.
Really? Okay.
Probably the most unhealthiest thing, but hey, that's what works for me.
Yeah. One a day?
Yeah.
Eh,
Like a
I'm,
large coat, like a RAF 44 from Sonic.
you
Yeah.
big boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you big boy. Route 44
Uh-huh.
with the slushy ice or big ice cubes.
No, slushy ice.
Oh, okay, yeah, you big boy. Yeah. And you having one of those a day?
Yeah.
Come on, Kayla. Nah, I'm
Okay, don't get on me,
no,
huh?
no, no, no. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. I just want you to have your kidneys by the time you're 30. That's all.
They're still functioning.
That's all. Just because the amount of sugar that Dr. Pepper, good God. So anyway, what I'm hoping is that you find another healthy place to be in besides a Route 44 cup of Dr. Pepper, which is nothing wrong with that. But how often do you get outside and enjoy nature?
That doesn't happen.
Why?
There's no time.
What do you mean there's no time?
There's no time.
So, you asked me the other day to mentor you, right?
Uh-huh. What I asked myself for.
Exactly.
Lord.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to take you on, but you're going to have to listen. And not listen because I'm telling you what's right, but listen because it's going to give you sustainability.
Mm.
You want what you're building at 28, you want to be around for it at 50. You know what I
80.
mean? And as much capacity as you have to use wisdom with it. Because you can go.
Mhm.
You can go. Again, I was, like when I was walking around in y'all building, I'm gonna tell you what I was doing. And Crystal is probably gonna say, I was praying for you. You need it. You need a lot of prayer. And it's not bad, but just because you need the support spiritually.
Mhm.
Because you are a Black woman that's doing something that's never been done. And you don't need people to just, girl, let me get around you because you got Dolce and Gabbana on and you got the newest bag and you got all these things. You need people around you that understand the weight of what you're carrying is also heavy and burdensome. And it's not just hopping in the whip and hopping out the cars and all that different type of stuff. Because see, that stuff looks fun. But nobody knows when you got to go home and start looking at these numbers and you done paid for these people to do some work. And now all of a sudden you realize they started, but they didn't finish. They ran off with the bread. Now they put you in the hole. And now you're in the hole. You trying to figure out how do we get this to pay this person. And once we get this paid, then we got to come back over here. And I feel all of that. When I was talking to you and friend the other day, I had to get out of there because again, I don't intrude. But I was praying and in that moment I felt led to just kind of pour into you. And even the things that I shared, I just met you for like 10 minutes in a green room. And then V was like, hey, I want you to interview Kayla. And when she said that, I was just like, okay, yeah, absolutely. And I said, well, what's her story? She said, well, I'll let her tell you. I said, well, you know what? Don't tell me. You know, because everybody that God brings in my space to put on this podcast, I know it's a reason for them to be here because there's something that God wants to heal through them, but also heal the people that are watching.
Yes.
Because what I love about this is that people get to see this in real time.
Yeah.
Because most sisters like yourself never get the space to just, you know what I noticed? You have been taking more breaths since you've been sitting in that chair than you did in the green room. When you was in the green room, yeah, because I'm an observer.
Oh Lord.
You know, this was you the whole time. And I can tell that was just like it's business as usual, but also it's like, this is angst. And and I'm not saying this, from a place of arrogance, but when people come in my presence, it's peaceful. And you're taking a breath because, oh gosh, you're taking these breaths because you don't know when you'll get the opportunity to take them again.
Yeah.
So my challenge to you is as you continue on this journey, building businesses and creating opportunities for people and giving and giving and giving, I want to challenge you to turn your pour inward. And you may not know what that looks like now, but take time to just exhale. When I think about the movie, Waiting to Exhale, listen to that, waiting to exhale. If you're waiting to exhale, you'll be dead. Oxygen supply is dead. So I don't want you to wait until you feel like you arrive at a place where you can finally, because it may be too late.
I love you said that because every, everyone says take a break. You said rest. You say rest. Like it's okay to rest. And I'm like, no. When I'm 40, I'll rest. That's what I just keep saying. I said when I'm 40, and they're like, you're not gonna make 40.
No, no.
I said I'm too young to rest.
No, because you won't make it to 40. And your rest will be your final one. Real talk. And when I say rest, I'm not just saying sleep. Some things like this whole podcast thing, and again, this is a testimony for me. All of this came about because I rested. Charlemagne and his team reached out. My mentor had told me the same thing I'm telling you. Last December, I took sick. I had vertigo from traveling and my body was compromised. I'm actually interviewing Dr. Jill later today, and she was looking at my blood work, man. Everything was out of whack. Because I was hopping on stage after stage and pouring into black men and pouring into black boys. And then I would get off stage and come home instead of resting. I'm seeing clients virtually. So my pour was never off. It was never off. And then I ain't had nobody pouring back into me. I'm dating a young lady, sweet, but she didn't know. She didn't know. She just kind of like, hey, you're doing a great job. And sometimes for people who carry heavy mantle, we don't need applause. In fact, babe, put your hands up and start praying. Instead of doing this, do this. That's what we need.
That's it.
But people who are enamored with us at times, don't know because they like, man, you doing it, Kayla. Girl, you doing it. And not realizing you need a place where you can just say, man, I'm tired. And as much as I am trying to succeed, I'm failing.
Mm.
And that's what I want for you. And not realizing my mentor, she says, Jay, you've done enough in the mental health space. Let it work for you. And Charlemagne team called me.
Wow.
And they said, hey, let's start putting this deal together for the podcast. I said, okay. Things just started happening. I ain't had to call nobody. I ain't had to go search nobody. I ain't had to call a publicist. It just started working for me.
Mm.
And I'm going to go biblical because this is my platform. Because part of the promise to Joshua that God gave Joshua was rest.
Mm.
Rest was a part of the promise. It wasn't just the promised land, it was also rest. Because could you imagine how tired them folks was of walking around in the wilderness for 40 years?
Yeah.
That's why I imagine, I said, when I'm looking at them in real time, I said, these niggas was crazy.
Yeah.
Everybody was like your mental capacity, your mental ability to decide and make logical, it's gone. It's hot. You get manna. At night, you trying to figure out, you laying down, you uncomfortable and all this type of stuff. And then this man said, come on, follow me. And you like, man, whatever. But God want us to rest. That way, what we have built will begin to work for us. And it's like I said, a good soil because you were there.
Yeah.
When you put the seed in the ground, you can't go back to the ground and keep digging it up.
Mm.
You got to let the seed rest in the ground. And it needs its process. And so there's some things that you're building that you probably can say, you know what, I can take my hands off of this for now. And you touch something else and it gives you a moment to breathe. And
Oh.
it's not juggling. It's understanding seasons.
Mm.
Does that make sense? It's understanding seasons. Because some season will require you to toil. And some season you say, hey friend, we're gonna pull off on this right now. And that way there's a sequence that when this is working, that is coming behind that. You know what I mean? And you build a system for yourself. And you always build a system for your rest. Because if you're not here, what happened to Blueprint?
Yeah.
Because
Sure.
you're the brains.
Yeah.
And nobody's talking about Black women are having strokes at a higher rate. And not because they're unhealthy.
Stress.
Say that again.
Stress.
It's stress. It's
Stress.
stress.
Yeah, I found myself in the hospital earlier this year. Stress. They can't find out nothing that's wrong. I went in for abdominal pain and I ended up being septic. So I had to stay in a couple days, but it probably
What?
all rooted from stress. It was just stress.
Yeah. That's my prayer for you is that God send the right people to support what you're doing and rest is included in what you're building. As much as I love the title building and battling, but I don't want you to always be battling. And I don't always want you to be building because you already made it. I mean, you're 20. I'm like, you had a suicide attempt at 19, bankruptcy at 21, getting ready to open up this huge center at 28. That's a lot. But I want you to know, as a Black man, I see you
Mm.
for who you are, not for what you've done, but just for who you are.
Thank you.
And I hope you begin to see yourself more. And that way you don't have to feel like you have to keep working to be seen.
Mhm.
Because there's a lot of young girls and a lot of women healing is attached, not to your success, but to your process.
Yes. a long process,
That's all. That's okay.
but it's okay.
That's okay. The blessings is in the process.
It is. And that's what I love so much about this journey. And even when, we talk about healing, I'm just now starting to relate to the different traumatic experiences, we may have been through. Um, and it makes us who we are today. And I'm trying to just be okay with like you said, everything is a season. And we just have to know when to deal with
Yeah.
certain.
Last question. What does healing, what is that for you? What is healing for you?
Mm, I would say healing is, I always say healing while hustling is just being okay to talk about it. There's certain things that I've been through that I know I can't talk about yet, but I know I've healed from it once I can talk about it. So like, you know, childhood molestation, we can talk about suicide. We can talk about certain things, but um it's okay to feel and it's okay to um just be okay with you because these experiences make us who we are.
Yeah.
And it's life. We're gonna go through some challenges, but don't live and sit in it forever. Um, just be okay and know that's your path.
Yes.
That's what
I love that. I love that.
that's what-
I love that. Well, guys, I'm gonna take a deep breath because this interview was very powerful, very vulnerable, um, and it was very real. It's the word that I'm thinking about. It's very real. And I'm grateful for Kayla just being here, being open and allowing me to share and to pour into her. And you're seeing a woman who is a phenomenal businesswoman, but you're also seeing a woman who is yet on her journey. And you may be there. You may be at a place where you are building and battling.
Mm.
But if you get nothing else out of this, I encourage you to rest. Because if you're trying to build and you're trying to battle, you're going to exhaust yourself. And if you want stability and you want longevity and you want to be able to really live in what you're building, you got to give yourself an opportunity to rest. Thank you, Kayla. I speak blessings over your business. I know it's going to be well. And you asked me to mentor you, so I'm going to say yes on this podcast. So you know what I mean. So we're gonna get you to resting.
Okay.
You're gonna keep making money, but babe, we're gonna get you to resting. We're gonna get you to resting. So go follow Kaila Cherie, the Blueprint University, amazing business model that is connecting Fortune 500 companies to small business owners. They help with funding. I mean, she is brilliant. And I encourage you to not only this is not about supporting, but go there because she's a big on educating. She's a big educator on business. And so again, remember, healing is a journey and wholeness is the destination. And until next time, I will see you. I am Dr. J, and this is another episode of Just Heal with Dr. J.